So if you guys are unaware, Ubisoft has reportedly been considering selling off Assassin's Creed, the franchise, to Tencent in a manner that doesn't give them necessarily full control over the IP, but essentially gives them a majority stake in the IP. They're also potentially working on something entirely new that they are looking for investors. And on top of that, it seems as if Tencent is going to be the leading one that will potentially buy up something from Ubisoft. Now, we've pretty much known that Tencent is going to be the majority, I guess the highest chance of anyone purchasing something from Ubisoft, whether it's IPs or whether it's the entire company. I just don't see how Tencent is very interested in buying Ubisoft as a company. I think Tencent would be way more interested and would probably even spend more money per IP just to buy certain IPs off of Ubisoft and to take it off their hands because they're absolute garbage and they don't know what to do anymore. Assassin's Creed is probably one of the franchises that is worth the most money from Ubisoft, if not the most money, out of all the IPs that they currently have right now. They also have the Far Cry series. They got all the Tom Clancy stuff. I mean, they got a lot of good IPs that they could definitely sell off to try to save the company and get some money. But at the end of the day, Ubisoft is failing no matter what, and they're looking for their get out of jail free card. So let's get into this article from the VGC. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Ubisoft is reportedly considering a Tencent-backed future for Assassin's Creed and more. The French gaming giant has struggled in recent years. Ubisoft is said to be looking for investors in a new gaming group that would house some of its biggest IPs. According to a new report, Chinese giant Tencent is said to be one of the potential backers for the new venture, which would control franchises like Ubisoft's staple, Assassin's Creed. Bloomberg has claimed that the company has asked for bids to be made as soon as by the end of this month, citing sources familiar with the deal. Ubisoft didn't comment when approached, but referred Bloomberg to its latest earnings. Last month, Bloomberg first reported on the potential new entity, which would see the French giant focus more on core IPs like Assassin's Creed. The Guillemot family currently owns 14% of Ubisoft shares, while Tencent owns 9.99%. So Tencent is really close to getting to match the Guillemot family, which is insane to me because the Guillemot family, obviously, they own essentially Ubisoft for the most part. The fact that Tencent has so many shares in Ubisoft that they're getting damn near close to the Guillemot family is crazy to me. But then again, not really that shocking. Last October, Bloomberg reported that Tencent and the Guillemots had been speaking with advisors to explore ways to stabilize Ubisoft, following a year in which its market value more than halved. Those discussions were said to have included the possibility of the pair teaming up to take Ubisoft private, although talks were said to be at an early stage at this time. Now, if they did take Ubisoft private, I just don't know what that's going to do for the company. I really don't, because I feel as if a lot of the issues that are happening at Ubisoft are from within. It doesn't really have to do with its own public nature. I feel like with Ubisoft, it is the way that they are handling the company. And if you take the company private, you're still going to have the same people handling the company. You're still going to have the same people in charge. Unless, of course, you make a deal with Tencent, where Tencent's going to bring in their own executives, perhaps half and half, 50-50 split, where Ubisoft will fire half the team and Tencent will make up the rest and put in their own people. Then that could be something different. And then you could see how the company gets ran from there. But if you just buy out the company and make it private and you keep the same people in charge, you're really not changing anything. You're just saving yourselves temporarily. But those same people that are in charge now, well, they're just going to ruin the company further once it's private anyway. So it really doesn't matter. A Reuters report published in December claimed that Ubisoft shareholders were considering how to structure a possible buyout of the company without reducing the Guillemot family's control. Tencent was claimed to be undecided over whether to participate in that buyout and increase its stake in the company, reportedly because it had asked for a greater say on future board decisions. According to Reuters, discussions between the two are ongoing, as Tencent also wants to prevent any potential hostile takeover of Ubisoft by other investors. I mean, look, Tencent is at 10% of ownership of Ubisoft. They're not going to want anybody else to sweep in on their cash cow. At least that's how they're viewing it anyway. If they can buy Ubisoft for cheap, or if they can buy Ubisoft IPs for cheap, they're going to do so, and then they're going to try to monetize the shit out of it whenever they can. But as of right now, the Guillemot family still has control, majority control over Ubisoft, and they are also desperately trying to maintain that control. And they don't want to reduce that level of control either. They want to keep it. So you got two different companies, right? Two different sets of groups that have interest in Ubisoft as a whole, the Guillemot family and Tencent, and both of them are trying to fight for control and maintain whatever control they have. The only difference is that the Guillemot family has the majority control because obviously they're the owners, essentially. Ubisoft's next tentpole release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, will be released on March 20th, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is the first major Ubisoft game to release day one on Steam since 2019. Previously, the publisher prioritized its own digital store as well as the Epic Games Store at launch, but that's because, let's be real, they're desperate, okay? They're so desperate that they're willing to forego their own actual digital storefront in order to maximize the sales for the game, because they know that many people are not going to buy the game on their digital storefront. They know that they are missing sales if they avoid Steam entirely for up to a year or even 6 months. That was the biggest mess up when it came to Star Wars Outlaws, although I don't think anything would have saved Star Wars Outlaws, but I damn sure know that being day one on Steam probably would have helped it at least a little bit. But the fact that they avoided Steam completely for a few months was a big death note for that game. So they're not trying to make the same mistake with Assassin's Creed Shadows. They need every sale that they can possibly get to make their future business choice with Tencent as profitable as humanly possible. Because I'm sure, as you guys are aware, deep down, you know and you understand that Ubisoft is cooked no matter what. Ubisoft is going to sell. There is no doubt about it. Whether they sell IPs or they sell the entire company, it doesn't matter whether or not Assassin's Creed Shadows does good or not. The company has fucked around and found out way too much, and they're at the point now where they're just going to have to sell. They're writing this out until Assassin's Creed Shadows drops, and then they're going to look and see how that game performs. And then their business dealings afterwards are going to be based around how that game performs. If Assassin's Creed Shadows does well, then they can garner more money for the sale. If Assassin's Creed Shadows does not garner well, then that means that Tencent could buy the company for cheap or cheaper, and they could buy the IPs for cheaper. Whatever route they end up going, they're going to be able to buy it cheaper if Assassin's Creed Shadows does not perform as well, obviously. So again, guys, whether Tencent backs this or not, time is going to tell. But I think at this point, they've also been shopping it with Microsoft. They've been shopping it with EA. They told multiple people to put bids in. So right now, that means that Tencent is bidding against other companies for future projects that are, Assassin's Creed based or maybe even other IPs as well. They are bidding against other companies. And I highly doubt Tencent is going to want any other companies to swoop in and be able to take control. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do everything they can to ensure they're the highest bidder. But obviously, time is going to tell whether or not that ends up being true. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.